Everybody, and welcome back to Video Game Esoterica. On this week's episode, we're going to be taking a look at Deathsmiles, released by Cave. It is a classic bullet hell shooting game, and the reason I picked this as the Oddity Obscura maybe is a little loose. I'm just shocked this actually came over to North America as a physical release, let alone a release that came with an Xbox 360 faceplate in a very limited edition, special edition. Most Cave games don't ever make it out of Japan, let alone to America on a physical release. A lot of times you need to buy Japanese hardware to play these games, or get region-free discs in. Yet for some reason, this is a game that they decided to release to America, which is extra strange to me because it kind of has a gothic Lolita storyline to it, and a lot of the characters that you're playing as aren't 18 years old, yet they're definitely treated as objects that might be looked at in a way that isn't the norm for America. So that's really why this is an odd game. I'm really surprised this actually obtained a release. Short of that, gameplay-wise, it is absolutely incredible. All Cave shooters are amazing. Some are more amazing than others, but they're all baseline, extremely competent, great games. Art style on Deathsmiles, super hand-drawn 2D animation. You got that amazing sprite work. You got those pig chefs down there with all those different frames of animation. Everything looks, sounds, and moves amazingly. So as far as gameplay is concerned, this is probably my favorite Cave horizontal shooter that they've ever released, and probably top 3 Cave games of all time for me personally. Now, if you talk to anybody who's a big fan of bullet hell games, that list of best to worst is going to be something that's going to be argued over till the end of time. Nobody can really decide which one's the best. Everyone has their favorites, and it's definitely a sort of personal topic when you ask somebody what their favorite shooting game might be, because there are so many of them. They range so wildly in quality, but Deathsmiles to me is an almost perfect game. Yet on that oddity front, I am still shocked we got this released whatsoever. Just because, culturally, there are different tastes and different things that aren't acceptable, and a game like this that has those sort of underage girls as characters presented in even the slightest of sexual situations, I'm just shocked that the game ever was actually brought over to America. If you look past that, and it is a very small portion of the game, almost like a very hard to detect undercurrent, then you are left with what is an amazing shooting game. Interestingly enough, there is a sequel to Deathsmiles, and that didn't come out in the United States. That is Japanese only. It is a region-free disc, if I'm not mistaken. You can buy that and play it on an American 360, but at this point in time, modding a 360 for region-free gameplay isn't the hardest thing in the world. But I don't know if this game just didn't perform well in the US. That would be my assumption, that they didn't make money because we didn't receive that sequel, and that is unfortunate because look at how amazing this game is. This buried Baron enemy is incredible. There's so many frames of animation in his face, how he moves around. It's something that you don't see outside of a Cave game, I feel. All of their games have this very lush animation style, and that's the second oddity portion of this. Just how much love goes into a genre that is so niche. Bullet hell games are not for everybody. It's not like the new Call of Duty or, World at War, anything like that. These are games that appeal to a very specific audience, and it's not a huge audience. So oddity-wise, the fact that these games keep getting made and keep performing really well in arcades and on home consoles is not only great, but it's actually surprising to me that this is still something going to this day. Super happy that's the case. Just always a little surprised. But what I'll do right now is I'll shut up and let you guys watch Deathsmiles. Just take a look at all that great lush animation, all those really intricate and difficult bullet patterns, and the overall storyline and setting of the game, because it is so unique. You're never going to see anything else like it. Be back in a few minutes to wrap the video up and talk a little more about Deathsmiles. Otherwise, enjoy the gameplay. We'll be back in a second. Hope you guys enjoyed watching a lot of that gameplay of Deathsmiles. This is one of my favorite scenes in the entire game, where you have these Victorian era looking people dancing. Reminds me a lot about Castlevania. And then you have all that animation in the background. You have a full orchestra playing. Obviously they're not animated, but then you have those other dancers on the floor, on the ground as well. I wish this game was something that you could pause and it wouldn't just black the screen out. When you hit pause, you go to a menu and you can't see anything. Because I would absolutely love to look at every frame of this game and pick out all the different details and animations that you can see, because it is so lush, it's so packed with detail, with amazing things to look at, that it's unfortunate you have to actually pay attention to large bullet patterns, because those bullet patterns actually keep you from looking at what's going on in the game. What you can enjoy, though, is the soundtrack. It has that kind of Victorian-era waltz setting to it, and it is something that, unlike the visuals, you can enjoy while playing the game. Because if you do pause to take a peek at what's going on around you, visually, you're going to get hit by a bullet and you're going to die. There's just so much going on that you don't actually get that chance to pause and take a look at your surroundings. I've gotten close to beating this game on one continue. I've made it all the way to the final boss right here, but the patterns do get very intricate and I haven't memorized them perfectly. I've played this game a ton. I bought it when it first came out, and I was so close to being able to beat it without continuing, but I probably haven't picked this game up in, I think, like 5 years. But it's a game that is as good, if not better, than I remember it being, and that's definitely part of that oddity too, is that my memory of how good the game is was actually true. I know we always have a lot of those games, the nostalgia factor, where we think, this game is incredible, it's amazing, it's one of my favorites, and then you go back and you play it 5, 10, 15 years down the line and you're kind of wondering, why did I actually like that then? Some games have a time and place for when they're enjoyable, and some games have a timeless nature to them, and this is one of those games where I think I could pick this up in 20, 30 years from now, play it, and have that same enjoyment as when I did when it first came out. And that, more than anything, is the Oddity, a game that holds up that well. But that's Deathsmiles, released by Cave. Oddity on two fronts. First one being that it actually came over to America with its entire subject matter intact, and the second is that it is one of those games that holds up perfectly to my memory of it. I'll let you guys enjoy the final boss fight, the second stage here. Those bullet patterns get really intense. Otherwise, we will be back next Tuesday with another episode of Video Game Esoterica with another great odd game. If you could do us a huge favor and go down below and hit that like and subscribe button. It takes us a ton of work to make each one of these episodes, and each like and subscribe definitely rewards us for that hard work. Otherwise, if you have any questions, leave them down below and I'll do my best to answer each and every one of them. If you want to follow us on Instagram, you can at Chicago Game Collector. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys next Tuesday. Bye-bye.